Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the top 10 things that Apex Legends needs to either fix, add, change, or anything of the sort. So it's not any particular order here, just going through some of the things that I would like to see change or be added into Apex Legends. So limited time game modes, or anything of the sorts that can add maybe a little bit more life or variety to Apex Legends. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Apex Legends. Playing with friends, one of the best BR experiences, in my personal opinion, to date, okay? But adding some limited time game modes could inject a lot of life into Apex Legends, could maybe get players to come back, or people who are maybe bored of playing, squads or trios. It could maybe just change up the pace of the game a little bit, and I think it would be very much a breath of fresh air for Apex Legends. Number 2, duos. Now hear me out. For me personally, I don't think Apex Legends would work particularly well as a solo experience, but then again, that's my honest and personal opinion. Yours can differ greatly, but I think duos would be a much needed addition to Apex Legends. I often find myself only playing with one other person, and then we get into this squad, which is 3 people, and having a random that often leaves for God knows what reason. But I definitely think duos would be a great addition. It wouldn't, break the meta too much, seeing as it is an asymmetric battle royale, each character having their own specialities and ultimates and all this stuff, and the synergy between characters. I feel like duos would still work fine in Apex Legends. It wouldn't really change much other than you'd have one person less in your team. But then again, solos I don't think would work at all, but personal opinion, yours can differ, but I think duos would be a much needed addition. Number 3, actually giving a buff, a substantial buff to Gibraltar and Caustic. So this week, in the last patch, they gave them a fortified passive which reduces damage by 10%. Right now it's bugged, okay? So if you still have shields left on your character and you're playing Caustic or Gibraltar, it actually chews down on your health at the same time as dwindling down your armor, which it's a bug, okay? So if you play Caustic and Gibraltar right now, you might see that even though you still have shields left, your health is still going down. But I still don't think that 10% is enough. They are such big targets, and some of their abilities aren't the best. I mean, Caustic, his traps don't do that much damage. His ult is pretty meh. Gibraltar's dome is easily used against him and his team, as opposed to, just being useful for them. And his ultimate's pretty good, though. Gibraltar's ultimate's pretty good. But I think, all in all, those 2 characters need some pretty substantial buffs and or reworks, more than just the 10% damage reduction, which is bugged right now. Number 4, better stats system. So it boggles my mind why you can't see the total amount of kills you have across the board in Apex Legends, or the total amount of wins that you have across the board. It's all separated into these, really specific different points. So the amount of wins you have with a full squad alive or stuff like that. So you can't really see how many wins you have with an actual character, how many total wins you have across the board, or total damage or stuff like that, unless you actually kept track of all that stuff while playing Apex Legends. And let's be honest, nobody's keeping track, or very little people are keeping track of the total amount of wins they have in Apex Legends, and I just feel like they're really lacking in the statistics system in this game that everybody would want to see. It's not really overly important, but I would like to see how many total wins I have, or how many total kills I have across the board, on top of seeing how many I have with each individual character. So I do think there is definitely some work that can be done in the stats system. Number 5, better netcode. Now I know that the devs are aware of this. The netcode is pretty bad in Apex Legends. I can't count the amount of times I've died behind cover, when I was like 2 seconds behind the cover and I still died from incoming damage. So there really needs to be a lot of work done to the netcode to, minimize the delay that you actually see people moving, and minimize the delay between the time that the person is shooting at you and you receive the damage. So there needs to be they need to focus on this if they want their game to, soar and keep growing and not stagnate or drop off players. So tying into this, number 6, high ping or region lock. Okay, this, I know region lock sucks and you don't want to force players to play in a region that might not have as many players. But let's be honest, regions like China or certain parts of Asia, which have high pings when they connect to NA servers, and two, have probably the largest percentage of cheaters and hackers across the board for many game franchises, many game IPs. There needs to be something done about this. PUBG took forever. Like, Asians were always playing in NA servers, and you just have a terrible experience because they had an incredibly high ping and or they were hacking 90% of the time. So there needs to be something done in this area. Either, matching players with similar ping servers, not allowing them to join servers in which they have 500 ping or something like that, or forcing them to lead their shots for the amount of ping that they have difference with the minimum threshold. They really need to do something in this area, because I see a lot of hackers, maybe a little bit less than at the beginning of Apex Legends life, but I do see a lot of people with high pings teleporting all over the place and shit, and you can't really hit them because they're lagging so much, and it just gets very frustrating dying to those people because you just can't hit your shots because you can't predict where they're gonna go because they're lagging so much. Definitely needs to be some attention paid to this, in my opinion. Number 7, better anti-cheat. So they've done a lot of work, and easy anti-cheat is picking up on a lot of the cheaters in Apex Legends, but now I've heard that they're doing something like soft cheating, or not pushing the aimbot too high so it doesn't get suspicious stats wise. So there still needs to be some work done with anti-cheat. I do still run into hackers, albeit a lot less than before. They are doing hardware ID bans now, IP bans. People who did cheat are having an incredibly hard time making new accounts now, and that is great. I mean, you pretty much screwed yourself over if you cheated in Apex Legends once, and then I've seen countless posts of people crying because they were banned and can't make a new account even if they only ran the cheat once. Well, you know what? It sucks to suck. Maybe you shouldn't have cheated in the first place, but definitely they're always going to need to work on the anti-cheat, seeing as Apex Legends is a free-to-play title. Number 8, new weapons and or cycling some weapons. So the way I see it right now, there's not a whole lot of variety in the weapons categories in Apex Legends. What they could do is either add new weapons flat out or cycle out some new weapons with some old ones just to keep the game fresh a little bit more, and always keep players adapted and engaged in trying new weapons and finding the new meta. So I think that would be a great thing as well, adding on to the limited time game modes and duos. Just keeping things fresh and changing things out would do a lot of good for Apex Legends. Number 9, adding some sort of leaderboard or ranked mode in Apex Legends, just to give the players some opportunities to, actually play a little bit more competitively, or go into ranked mode knowing that you're probably going to play against people that have skill levels maybe more even to theirs, as opposed to just stomping on noobs all the time. So they need to look into either having a ranked mode or improved matchmaking, so you don't always get matched with low level players who maybe don't have the amount of time necessary in the game. Then again, that opens up the door to Smurfs. That's a problem in pretty much every game ever, having Smurfs that take advantage of that ranked matchmaking system or the skill-based matchmaking. So I think there needs to be work in their matchmaking department, and or the addition of a ranked mode that does have a leaver penalty for players that would leave mid-match before their respawn has timed out. I don't think they really need to instill or put back a leaver penalty in the casual, the regular squads. They need to incentivize people to actually stay in the game with their squad, as opposed to having them get a leaver penalty for leaving. So instead of, taking out the whip and when somebody does something bad, reward them for staying with their squad through the end until their respawn has timed out, and then giving them the opportunity to leave. So there needs to be a little bit of work done in that regard. And number 10, action prioritization, or the addition of new key bindings for finishers, opening doors, opening crates, so death boxes. Because right now, if you have a crate that's near a door and near an enemy, if you press E, it's a roll. You're rolling the dice onto which action is going to happen. I can't count the amount of times that I've wanted to pick up a weapon or something, and an enemy was sitting next to it, and I ended up finishing the enemy when I really didn't want to do that. I maybe wanted to swap out weapons or pick up more ammo, and then I was stuck in that finishing animation, and I'd get killed because of it. So there needs to be rework or addition of new key bindings, or even the ability to assign, for example, the finisher that you have to double tap E to do the finisher. So something in that sense. There needs to be a rework in the key bindings and the control scheme, even for console as much as on PC, because too many actions are tied to a single keybind, and all of those can get mixed up when there's a lot of the same actions available to the player in a same area. So these are the top 10 things I think that Apex Legends needs to work on, add, or change in no particular order. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What would you like to see added, changed, reworked in Apex Legends? While you're down there, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.